Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys a review of Rakshak by Bloodywood. So we've listened to this album non-stop over and over and over, and I'm going to hand the floor over to Bile Self. What are your thoughts after 1 week of listening?
Alright, so listened to it a lot. For the most part, enjoyed it throughout the week. I guess I'll talk about, some tracks that kind of stood out to me as highlight tracks. Basically the singles they released. So that would be Gadar, Ayaj, and Dana Dan, or Dana Dan. I'm not sure the pronunciation. We're going to butcher these. Sorry. Those three tracks were standout tracks. The only one that stood out to me, actually I mentioned last week that Chocolat, or Chocolat, was also a standout track to me. It still is, but it kind of died down on me, so I don't want to mention it as a standout track. But another one that did stand out to me, aside from the singles, was the track right before that, track number 9, which is BSDK.exe. I don't know what that stands for, I don't know what it means.
What program could that be?
Yeah, it's a virus. This track has kind of its own sound to it. It's got a cool vibe to it that the other tracks don't quite have. It stands out in a certain way. But honestly, the best thing about it is this bleh. And it's not quite a bleh, but it's like kind of like a bleh near the end. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I might. I'd have to hear it again.
It's near the end. It's not a bleh, but it's like that. And I'm like, wow, like I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty cool that they threw that in there. I still think Dana Dan, is the best song on the album. I think this song actually stands out in exceptional ways compared to other tracks. Just as far as the talent that's exhibited on this song, mainly with the vocals, because both vocalists are just hammering vocals out at rapid paces. It's going hard, it's going fast. The subject matter is cool, it's vicious, it's violent. Dana Dan translates basically to like relentlessly beating somebody without mercy, basically is what it means. It's probably the only song on the album that I think is worth sharing with others. Like if I was talking to another metalhead and I was going to be like, hey, check out this band, this is the song you want to listen to, that's the one I'm going to get them started on. But I do feel like if they listened to that song and liked it, they might be a little disappointed in what the rest of the album has to offer. So now comes the part where I'm going to be a little bit negative, and I'm really sorry because people are going to hate on me for this. The initial charm that this album had when I first listened to it died down on me pretty quickly. I think it has, that's what I was going to say, initial charm. I think the whole element with the rap-infused metal works for some bands in some instances, and it works here, but I don't like the fact that it's there all the time. I think it would have been much more tasteful, in my personal opinion, if the rap stuff was only on a few tracks, not all over the place. And I think the thing that hurts it the most is the guy that raps, in my opinion, is the weakest link of the band. Not because he's rapping, but how he's rapping. It's the rhymes he's using, it's the flow. It sounds very basic, very standard, very almost on an amateur level. It sounds very dated. And it sounds like he's really, really trying as hard as he can to be as tough as possible. And it almost sounds like a joke, like a gimmicky joke to me. And I hate to say that because at first I was into it. I was like, yes, this is fresh, this is new. It's bringing back to some old school new metal kind of vibes and roots. But as the week went on, I started cringing at it like, this is like not really doing it for me. The lyrical content I can appreciate. I like the message that these guys have. All the cultural influences in the music I really dig, but the rapper guy really started killing the vibe for me throughout the week.
You know, I remember you mentioned last week, like, oh, the rap is on like every single song, and I looked into that from what I could recall, and it's not like every single song, but most of them will have the rapping in it, and it's kind of hit and miss in terms of his performance. I can agree with you there, because if you look at it on Dana Dan, awesome, sounds great, he sounds fucking great. Yes. Even on Aj, he's fine, but it got to a point where I was thinking like, okay, is it really necessary to have it as much as it is on this album? And I do agree, the lyrical content's really, really nice. It's great messages. Even when they're aggressive messages, it's still positive to a degree. Like Dana Dan if I recall correctly, is about beating the shit out of rapists.
Yep.
So cool. I mean, you know, even with a very aggressive and angry song and message, it's still a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this one line in Gadar that stood out to me, and I thought, like, what? Where he says, you say you're gonna do, you say you're gonna do none of that fake shit WWE, because you know we keep it real like the UFC.
That's cringy.
And that line, like, I don't know, I just heard it, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, what? I don't know. Every time that line comes up, I'm like, man, that's so dumb.
It's such a prominent line too. I feel like they were like, they thought it was like the best line. Like, let's make this one stand out. That's an example of what I'm talking about, though.
Exactly. So, there's this one small thing in Machi Basad, where you hear a voice saying, "Hey there, hi, I'm ready to die." I kind of liked that, but I didn't like the squeaky toy or directly after. Why was that there?
I don't know.
What's the point?
I was wondering where that sample came from, and if it even is a sample, it might just be they recorded it.
Yeah.
But the squeaky toy just reminded me of Ice Nine Kills, that the Battery Toys Chucky song.
Assault and Batteries.
Assault and Batteries, yeah, because that had a bunch of squeaky toys in it.
And I didn't like that song, so it goes to show that I didn't like the squeaky toy here either.
No squeaky toys in metal.
No,
it does not belong.
Put the toys away. So overall, though, it's still a pretty solid album. I did find myself enjoying kind of the same songs that I was enjoying last week. Dana Dan, of course, crazy song. Aj, really, really good. I would say Dana Dan's probably my favorite song now, though. Aj slipped a tiny bit, but it's still a great song. Yad, I think, is great. Really like that song. That solo kicks my ass every time I hear it. Fucking awesome solo, loved it. One issue I did have, though, there are 3 songs. Gadar, Machi Basad, and Chakale. I feel like they all reuse a riff. I feel like when I'm listening to any of those 3 songs, I think it could be any one of the 3. I feel like I've heard this riff already, you know? And it's an issue because other songs don't do that, so why do these 3 kind of have a loose link? I'm not saying they sound identical.
No.
I'm not
I know what you
overly
mean,
saying.
though. I know what you mean.
Like, overall, when I'm listening, I'm like, is this Gadar? No, it's not. No, it's that one. Oh, okay. I get confused with these 3 songs.
Yeah, and the problem with stuff like that is that's when things become forgettable. Because you need things to stand out to be memorable. And when things start blending together and you're not sure what song you're listening to when it's on, you start to just go, well, maybe these aren't that good.
And the album has a good contour, and it does allow you to go through the album experience quite nicely. It's just those 3 songs, which are literally the beginning, the middle, and the ending. Like, the first track, the middle track, and the last track are the ones that sound very similar. So it's like, you could maybe think of a roundabout way of saying it's like, well, you're kind of coming back full circle, but that it doesn't work in this case because it's not like they're actually legitimately reusing musical concepts to do that in an artistic manner. It just feels like these 3 songs sound too similar. That's just kind of it. You know, I think there's a difference between songs sounding a little too similar when they're trying to be different and songs that are purposefully similar for the point of continuity.
Exactly.
And the continuity is not the point in this case, from what I could hear.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, I guess let's get to rating this album. What do you give Rakshak?
So I think it's a decent effort as a first album from this band. Like, they're not brand new. They've put out music before, but this is their first initial full LP release. I think it's a good effort. I think the music sounds a little dated. I think this band has a lot of potential to grow into something great. I really like the cultural elements, like I mentioned. I like the fact that they're from India and they really push that sound. That's all amazing stuff. But at the end of the day, a lot of this album for me is forgettable. A lot of it sounds very bland and pretty basic. So I'm going to give it not such a favorable score, and people are going to hate me for this, but I'm giving it a 4.
Wow, that's a lot lower than I was expecting. As for myself, I do think this is quite a strong album, all things considered. Thinking about how it does bring something new to the table. You don't really see much kind of Indian new core almost out there. And the cultural elements of this album really do help keep it fresh. I do think there are a few creative decisions that kind of skewed this album in a direction, like in a kind of a less favorable direction, but overall the foundation is quite strong, and I'm really excited to see what these guys have coming next. It gets a 7 from me. It's overall a strong album, but not enough to be a toe tag.
Wow.
So a 7 for me, a 4 from Vile Self.
I'm surprised you gave it that high of a score.
I'm surprised you give it that low of a score. It's not that bad. What?
I'm not saying it's bad, but I mean, it's
Well,
just
less than favorable, that's for sure.
it's less than favorable.
Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like this video if you like it, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and tell us in the comments, what did you think of this album a week after its release?
Everybody's going to agree with you.
Please, please be nice to Vile, okay? Anyway, I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.